Hey everybody, my name is Andres Perez, and I'm here to present to you guys my 60 card Fam Night Adventure Horus deck list that I used to win 2 Legacy of Destruction case tournaments this past month, as well as most recently this 25th anniversary Rare Collection playmat 30% tournament as well. Some of you guys might recognize me from last year's Master Duel deck profile video, and I've also played Fam Nights quite a bit during colored format a lot on the online tournament scene, hence the Chalice Slam Monthly Field Center. With that being said, let's just go ahead and go straight into the deck list. So I used 3 Torn Scales, 2 Red Gloves, 2 Ancient Cloak, 3 Boots, 1 Stained, Rhoda, and the 3 Pogblades. So because I am using a 60 card deck list, my Fam Night ratios are a little bit more on the higher side compared to what you might see in a 42 to like 45 card deck list, such as I know the Australian topping YCS deck list popularized the 2 Torn Scales ratio, as well as I think that Australian regional that top most recently also play that ratio. And a lot of deck lists because of that also I think cut the stain, because I know their reasoning is it's not the greatest send off of Imseti, or like just not the greatest send off of the general when you're talking about like discard recursion. But I still like it because it helps you avoid having to burn through a trap if you already hard open Silent Boots. But I also understand that the probability of like seeing Boots in your opening hand is also very low. So I could see myself cutting this as well, but I have to do more testing with that in the future for like later format as well. And then the 3 Pod Blades and 1 Wings is fine, I think. I think you need to play at least 4 traps in the main deck, and I don't think Shade is necessary. Actually, I think I'll just leave it spread out like that. For the Venture package, I used 3 Water Enchantress, 3 Rite of Aramesir, Dracoback, Griffin, Faithful Adventure, Continuous Spell, and the Foolish Burial. So I know some deck lists also play just 2 Rite, and then they don't play the Foolish Burial. I think since I am using the 60 card main deck, I feel as though I want to always be constantly seeing the Adventure engine in my opening hand. And I feel like even if you don't open up the Horus package, I still feel like first turn full combo Adventure plus PK on board is still pretty good. I have debated cutting Foolish for like a going second card or an extender, but also I feel like Foolish also serves as both going a first card and a going second card. So I feel like it has really good value in that sense. Now for the Horus package, 3 Imseti, Domatev, Happy, and the 3 Kingstar. So I was originally in my playtesting, I think in my first or case tournament or 2, I was playing the Terraforming and the Field Spell, because the idea was that I could use Thrust and then Thrust into the Horus engine. But the issue with that is, like, once again, it's mainly for going second was the philosophy, and you burn through a lot of cards when you try to break the board quite a bit. And so you really need 3 cards to pull this off. And I just found myself not really having enough cards in order to go ahead and pull off like a zombie vampire line of play. So it's a good concept in theory, but it just doesn't end up working out a lot of the time. Now for the generic senders, play 3 Terratop, tag a town board, the danger package with the Jackalope and Tsushinoko, 3 Italy, the Psychic Tracker, and the Dr. Frankenderp. So I was testing a Orcus package as well quite a bit, but I just found that the Orcus package was a bit too bricky, and while the generic extenders don't have as great graveyard recursion as the Orcus package does, I still felt that the generic package helps you turbo out Downward Zeus plays as well, and then also it just helps you be more consistent into getting into Shirobini for your first turn boards. Frankenderp I feel is really good because it helps you get an extra card in your hand, and like the whole act of having to skip your draw phase as a downside isn't really that bad in this deck, because as long as you establish your Venture engine as well as your Horus engine, you don't really need that that draw off of your next turn as much as other decks do. For the going second cards, 3 talents, 3 droplet, 3 thrust, 3 dark ruler, and 3 magical spring. So the idea with these power spells is that, in my opinion, since Fam Knight is a 2-card combo deck, I feel like it's better to go with the board breaker approach, similar to like how Branded Despia variants don't play hand traps in the main deck or in the side deck oftentimes. I mean, I have seen them side deck sometimes, hand traps, but I feel like because of how reliant you are on like seeing gas in order to like establish your first turn board as well as break through on an opponent's board, you're just better off playing power spells, and especially since anti-spell got limited, it helps this deck a lot to be able to break your opponent's board through stuff like droplets, talents. I think droplets and talents are definitely like staples in the main. Thrust I know can be a little bit weird, but I do play D-Barrier in the side deck. So then that way, in case you get hand trapped in Oblivion, you can still do something against for example, Voiceless, or against Branded if they happen to hand trap you, or what's another deck? Gastira as well. Dark Ruler you can change out as well as a Magical Spring and play Book of Eclipse is what I'm testing out right now. I just wasn't thinking about it when I was preparing for the playmat tournament as well as the case journeys. But Book of Eclipse isn't bad. It comes up in some scenarios because it's also, you can set it going first, but I would have to do more playtesting with that. And now for the side deck, I use 3 Foolish Return, 3 Mind Control, and 1 Change of Heart, 3 Cosmic, 3 Twin Twister, 1 Herald of the Abyss, 1 D-Barrier. The Foolish Return is mainly for Branded, to help you see an extra out to the Gimmick Puppet Lock, as well as you can also side it in going first, because you're going to take out the Dark Rulers, Magical Springs going first, and so these can hit things such as Saphira of the Voiceless, if you get queued up against Voiceless. Cosmic is also good against Runic Stun as well as Horus Stun. I'm playing 60, so you're going to see here that I play a lot more Spawn Trap Hate than I would if I was playing a lower count deck list. I think this deck can utilize the change cards very well compared to a lot more other decks, just because if you guys don't remember, the zombie vampire has the alternate summoning conditioning to where if you take control, you can use a monster from your opponent's possession, or that your opponent controlled, sorry, that has a level, and it doesn't have to be the exact level when you exceed summon into it. Since it's a rank 8, it can be like a level 2, for example. And so it catches a lot of opponents off guard with that. And so I think it's really cool, especially for this deck. And like a lot of decks don't put up Omni Negates such as Barone or Savage anymore. So I feel like the power spells really come into play. But these can also go in the main deck as well, depending on what you expect to see in whatever tournament you're facing. Like maybe in locals, there's like a lot of decks that people use that don't have target protection, in which case I would say put these in the main. But Herald I would probably cut because I never get queued up against Pearly, even though I have this dedicated spot right here for it. So I would play like maybe an alternate thrust target, and like I took it out. I took out Herald and then 2 Dark Rulers right now for the Book of Eclipses that I'm testing out currently on Simulator. But other than that, I think the side deck is fine as it is. And some shout outs before I get to the extra deck. Shout outs to Top Cynics, of course, for having me as a guest on his YouTube channel. And then shout out to some of my online friends like Maxi, Joker, JT, Peter, and then Drip Guide. For the Link monsters, I use SP, Underworld Goddess, Access Code, Dark Charmer, Cherubini, Rusty, and IP. So these are pretty much staples. Dark Charmer is really nice. I sometimes even in awkward game states just go ahead and use it to crash, and then just go ahead and search a dark monster. A lot of people don't play Underworld Goddess or Access Code Talker, depending on like their other extra deck flex spots that they choose to prioritize more. I like Underworld Goddess because it's useful going first as well as going second, because sometimes you open up a lot of gas but no Horus engine to where you can establish an IP SP on board, and then Underworld Goddess helps you play around talents as well, because they're stuck like drawing 2 at that point because you already empty out your entire hand going first, as well as you know, they take control. Okay, what are they gonna, how useful is a Rusty gonna be that they can't link off with? And then Access Code is just another useful out to skill drain as well. Then I use 2 Break Sword, 1 Raider's Knight, and Arc Rebellion, Downward Zeus, Photon Lord, Zombie Vampire. I could see myself putting in Levier instead of the Downward, but I've been having a lot of times to where, let's say like I Dark Ruler my opponent's Melodious or Kashtira board going second. I found a lot of times they either have Veiler or an Imperm set whenever I try to go for a Break Sword, Battle Phase, Downward Zeus type of play. So I always felt like Downward is very useful in that aspect. I know some deck lists in the past have tried out Dengirsu, but I feel like that's requires you to like really open up the Horus engine. So I feel like it's just more versatile. Just playing the Photon Lord and the Zombie Vampire. But other than that, I don't think I would change anything else. I feel like Raider's Knight and Arc Rebellion is very important because sometimes you just have to go for game at that point, because a lot of the Snake Eye decks have really strong follow-up, even like better than ours in a sense. So I feel like you can't allow them to like to beat you on the crackback, and you have to end the turn going second. But yeah, that is it for the deck list. Don't be surprised if you may see me playing at regionals. Comment your in a year's time. I've just been focusing a lot more on school right now, but in the near future, I do hope to play in more higher tier events. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys stay safe and have a nice day.